Alright, yo, what up, what up, what up? Welcome to the solar system series known as Fixed Fire, where we're talking about the only fixed fire sign in this ecliptic, known as Leo. Now, today we're going to be talking about Mars in Leo. So let's do what we normally do and break it down like a fraction. So, Mars. What is Mars? Mars is the red hot planet that basically carries out and actually gets you to do the actions of whatever you consciously see from the world, which is basically the sun, your expression. You know, the shape and form of you actually expressing something. This is actually now Mars is actually the engine behind these actions that actually get you to carry out these situations. And they're basically, you can look at Mars as any feeling that actually motivates you to act on a subject. So this is why it's your passions, willpower, aggressions, motivation. Like I said, any emotion or feeling that actually gets you to act on any given situation. This is your Mars placement. So, now moving on to the Leo aspect of this, we should talk about Leo a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Before we get into the traits and all this, that, and the third. So, Leo is born from the 5th house. The 5th house is it's the sun's house, you know? It's basically anything that has to do with entertainment, what you're entertained by, you know, expression, creativity, child rearing, how you deal with children in some extent. You know, it's a lot of things. It's just the life situation of, you know, emitting light and people, you know, paying attention to it or giving attention. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just the attention house. It's just looking at light, being light, emitting light. It's all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And whatchamacallit? Moving on to what was I talking about? Fifth house. Right, Leo. So Leo is the fixed fire sign, you know. It's which basically means it's fixated on its own way of seeing and feeling. Now, if you remember from this whole seeing and feeling situation, this is basically perspective in general, right? So, perspective is just like you would take things from many different angles and being like, oh, okay, this is how I see and feel about this. Oh, okay, from this angle, this is how I see and feel about this. You know what I'm saying? Like you can go any different directions. But with Leo being fixated on this area of life, it basically, you know, it's just like from the jump, like a lot of the fixed signs in general become self-actualized a lot earlier than many of the other mutable or cardinal signs, because when they're not creating or being adaptable to different ways of seeing at things, they get to sit in one perspective and understand it really, 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 really well. Like, this is why Leo can be seen as sort of like the fireplace out of all the fire signs, because it sits in one place and it can burn hot, be beautiful. It understands that place. That place is its home. That's its freaking, you know, I mean, like, I don't want to go as far to say that spot is its bitch, but, you know, you can infer what you want to infer from that. Anyways, now, Leo is, it's ruled by the sun, and it is away in Saturn. Now, these are the two basically planetary alignments with Leo that kind of build the archetype around how you can see it. You know, you can also venture to say that it's away in Uranus to some extent, but, you know, these are the outer planets, so you know how that goes. They're a little too far to, you know, really have that direct influence the way, you know, a Sun or a Saturn might. Anyways, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about the traits of a Mars and Leo person. So, Mars in Leo. So, with the planet of passion, willpower, aggression, motivation, and basically any emotion or feeling that gets you to act on a certain subject, layered through the lens of Leo, what happens here? Basically, anytime you act or do anything that actually gets you moving and like working and grooving and acting on something, will be seen by a lot of people, right? So let's say if you're working on building something, right? You say you're working on like building this climbing wall behind me. You're making a lot of sounds. You're hammering the T-nuts behind it. The T-nuts are basically these little holes that screw the bolt into the hole and attach it to the wall. You know, this is why you see all these little holes in the wall. That's, you know, like, so if you're doing that and you're hammering them shits in the plywood and you're making it really, 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 really loud, what's going to happen if you're doing this is all your neighbors are going to hear it, and and with your freaking Mars and Leo and you acting and it just being like a whole grand stage and a lot of attention being paid to you acting, people are going to flock to that and being like, yo, what's going on? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? What's doing that? And they just want to know basically every aspect of why you're doing a certain thing, you know? This could play out as you just like having a conversation with people, when you're going out to a party and you're just conversating with a bunch of people, you know, you're playing beer pong, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing all this shit at the party, depending on what age you're at and what party situation, you know. We can take it out through many levels and layers of situation. You know, if you're a kid at your birthday party and you're 1 year old, let's take it up through the ages, you know. If you're 1 year old and you're a Mars and Leo, if you blow out the candles, everybody's going to be focusing you and on what the little subtleties of what you did in blowing out the candles, whether it's good or bad. If you have those trick candles that go and never go out because of, I don't exactly know how they're created, maybe it's something to do with magnesium or whatever, but if you actually are blowing out these candles and they keep going out, everybody's going to be like, oh, you know, they're not going to be like freaking out, but they're going to be paying so much attention to you trying to blow out these candles. Now, if you move it on up in the age group a little bit and say you're 15 at a party and you're playing beer pong for the first time, you may have a lot of luck with beer pong or you may not. Either way, you will get paid a lot of attention by everyone in the party for some reason for being either really shitty at beer pong, you know, you keep fucking it up. Like, they stacked up the cups, they made it a freaking like giant square when you can get to the lower amount of cups where you can like reform it and actually throw it in, and you had a really good spot, and for some reason you didn't even get it on the table, you know. You would get a lot of attention for that, just for no reason, just off the strength of your Mars and Leo, because your actions are basically placed in the sign of being center stage on a subject. You know what I'm saying? You're literally just anything you do, good or bad, will gain a lot of attention for it for no apparent reason other than your alignments. Like, at least from a physical perspective, there'll be no apparent reason. You may actually start acting on things and like creating situations for yourself that do give people paying a lot of attention to your situation, but more often than not, you just have the natural alignment of being paid attention to, you know, just doing you, man. You could be reading a book in just a weird location, and you're not even going to be able to read that book, because everybody's going to be stopping on a certain location and being like, oh, you know, why are you reading this book, you know? Like, and you're just being like, damn, man, like, I like talking to you, but I'm trying to read this book right here. Damn, I guess I can't read a book in public, you know? Like, Mars and Leo gets weird like that. And then also, you may be acting on a lot of things with this placement that with this placement, you may be acting on a lot of things that just to give people attention or to get attention, you know? It works a lot of ways. It's not necessarily like an ascendant in Leo, where it's just your spirit, your space, the natural vibration that you're rocking with that just attracts attention and you don't give a fuck about it either way. You know, this is Mars and Leo. You could be acting on things that like are, you know, seeking out attention. You know, like, you're gonna get attention either way, whether you act on it or not. You know, but a lot of your actions will be predicated on the attention behind it, you know? Like, I know Mars is just the planet of where you just like act and it's just like whatever, you don't think about it, you just felt it, you just did it. But with Leo here, there's always going to be a subconscious tendency where it's like, you know, you always just naturally get attention anyway, so eventually you're going to start thinking about it and being like, will I get attention for this? What kind of attention will this draw? What kind of attention will that draw? Especially after you go through a bad situation of where it's just like, you fucked up, like say, some weird situation, I know you can't see it, but there's a light right here and a bike tire right here. Say, for some reason, this bike tire was filled with gasoline, and I just freaking like slashed it with like a pair of scissors, and then this light just also smacked down with it, and then it just like, you know, the batteries in it somehow did a thing, or it was like spark, and you know how sparks get with gasoline, and it goes kaboom, right? You know, like, if I just randomly did that, just for no reason, full well knowing like all the details of the situation, people would look at me like, what the fuck are you doing? On top of that situation in general just being a big explosion already of light and attention, you know? Like, that would be a really bad thing, of course. Depending, well, you know, you could work it out as it could be a good situation. Who knows? Movie writers do it all the time. But you could full well have known what was going on, and like the thought went through your head, okay, I thought this, and this might happen. Now I'm going to act on it, and kaboom. You know, you may have, like, if a situation like that happened, that would obviously lead you down the road of being like, damn, you know, like, I act on all of this attention, I shouldn't, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. That would definitely, like, bring you down the line of being like, oh, fuck, I guess I got to think about my actions now, because it always attracts this much attention, and I don't know if I want this much light being focused on me, you know? Anyways, that's my little tidbit on Mars and Leo for you. Thanks for following our solar system series of Fixed Fire, where we talk about Leo you know, the only fixed fire sign in this ecliptic. Anyways, let's run down the planets and the basic alignments. You can come up with your own conclusions for why these alignments work this way and produce these type of results in life and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So, Leo, born from the 5th house. 5th house is basically the sun's house. Any form of light, you know, attention, just creativity, entertainment for you, by you, or from you, you know, is you know, that's basically the 5th house. It just rules all of those situations where just attention is like given or seen for the light you emit or the light you are intaking, you know. So, and if we move down the line a little bit, you know, Leo's fixed fire, being fixated on your own way of feeling and adding and seeing things. And then we have whatchamacallit. It is, you know, it's ruled by the sun, the planet that influences what you consciously see from the world as well as how you express yourself. And then we also have Saturn here, which is away, the planet of boundaries, restrictions, and limits, you know. And then and also how you see reality, but that's another video. And then we also have, actually no, that's pretty much it. We did fixed fire, we did the house, we did the planets. Now we got to talk it with it being layered into Mars. Mars is the planet of your passions, willpower, aggression, motivation, and basically any emotion that gets you to act on, you know, whatever you're thinking about or whatever situation you're in on that moment, you know. Anyways, thanks for watching. Peace.